can the Seattle Seahawks win out on the rest of the season and have a chance to make the playoffs and turn around what seemed like not a very successful season? The answer is yes, but it's not that simple, obviously. There are some tougher games than we realize coming up on the schedule. Now, while everyone knew that the tough part of the schedule was the 49ers, Cowboys, 49ers, then Eagles, it's not the easiest schedule right now moving forward either. Playing the Titans next week after this Eagles game in Tennessee on Christmas Eve, and Will Levis had a great game last week. It's never an easy game. You play the Steelers the following week, and the Steelers are always well coached, so you never know. And then the Cardinals. With Kyler Murray, the Cardinals have not been that bad. And it's going to be a tough game regardless in division. Kyler Murray, the Cardinals are always decent. I mean, those games seem to always be very interesting in Arizona. So you never really know. And the big question I'm seeing all over social media and especially Twitter is, what if we win out? How does that change our future? Do we want to win out? Would we rather, lose some games and actually get a better draft pick? It's all very interesting, and I think there's two sides to look at it in every single way. Because at the end of the day, does it make a big difference if you get a better draft pick? I don't think so. It doesn't make that much a difference. The Seahawks aren't a 2-win team here. They're not looking to go get Caleb Williams. They're not looking at a Drake May on the potential board here. This is a team that's already won 6 games, and they're probably going to end somewhere between 7, 8, or 9 wins. It's possible they win 10 if they win out. We'll get to that scenario. But they're probably most likely an 8 or 9 win team. And what? If you lose out, you're a 6-win team and you're going to get the 9th or 10th pick. The way you got to look at it is, we had the 5th pick last year and the 20th pick, 2 first-round picks. We're not going to have something that successful, a 5th pick in the draft. We're not going to be that low. So even when we had the 5th pick, it doesn't turn around your situation overnight. And at the end of the day, unless you are in a situation, like I said, where you're looking for the 2nd, 1st, 3rd, maybe the 4th pick, and you're going to get a franchise quarterback, that's really when the situation will change everything for your team. Not whether you're winning 6 versus 9 games. Now, the reason I think it's really important to actually win and get this back on track is for a few things. The playoffs is one. Now, the playoffs is not the most important thing in the world for a team, especially if you're not going to go win the Super Bowl. Some people disagree with this, but at the end of the day, the ultimate goal always, no matter what, is to win a Super Bowl, even when your team's not ready to do so. Making the playoffs is cool, but if you're not going to win, if you're going to lose in the first round again, it's not that cool. Either way, though, you'd rather have that than be a bad team, and that's where the Seahawks are at. I'd rather see this team have some fight at the end of the year that helps the young guys learn how to have some turnaround in the season. We've had a good stretch, a bad stretch, back to a good stretch. You get playoff experience, and it keeps the building intact. Now, some people actually are rooting maybe for a collapse. Maybe some people want to see John Schneider and Pete Carroll go and have a whole new situation in Seattle. I'm not one of those. I'm not saying that Pete Carroll is, my number one option always. There's some good, there's some bad. He is aging. He's not going to be around for much, much longer. But at the end of the day, what matters is this building, this culture, this team will stay intact. I think it's really important to win the next 4 games or win 3 out of the 4. You make the playoff. The morale is high. It doesn't look bad on Geno Smith anymore. It doesn't look bad on Pete Carroll anymore. The young guys will stay understanding that Pete Carroll culture, right, of staying positive. It's all going to work out. Do not give up. If this team loses 4 in a row, the message is not there anymore. The building's going to be different. And that's important. It would be really bad if all these young guys, the last 2 years, we have so many players that were drafted the last 2 years. We're the 5th youngest team in the NFL at 25 years old or 26 years old range. If the Pete Carroll message, that being positive, it's going to work out, it's going to turn around, if that does not come true, what does that mean for the young guys? That culture starts to change. And we saw that. Do not forget, we saw that at the end of the Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Marshawn Lynch, Cam Chancellor era. Even though these guys all come back like Richard Sherman, he sometimes has negative things to say. He was pissed. He went to the 49ers. He got cut. Earl Thomas flicked off the sideline. Marshawn Lynch flicked off the sideline. A lot of these guys started to lose the culture. They lost the Pete Carroll positivity. Everything's going to work out. It went down the drain once losing started to happen, once injuries, cutting players happened. Things went downhill. And that could happen again if this team ends up losing 3 out of the last 4. You could lose the culture, you could lose the locker room, and we'd have to, reset everything that's going on. And I do not want that to happen. So winning is important. And is it possible? I say yes. I do think the Seahawks have a chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we went into Dallas and almost won that game. We lost to the Rams recently by 1 point. Earlier in the season, we lost to the Bengals by 3. I think the biggest issue for the Seahawks right now is that there's too many close calls that aren't going our way. And I spoke on this on a previous video that the Seahawks are almost there all the time. And the old Seahawks that I knew, with the good Pete Carroll vibes and the always believe, Russell Wilson was always in, you got to believe, you're never out of it. They always won those close games. They always came out on top. They're not doing that right now, and that's what's scary about this team. And that's the culture I'm talking about. But I do think now at home, Monday Night Football, primetime, they have a shot. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to win because I also get in all the comments. Every time I say they're going to win, I jinx them, and maybe that's true. So I'm going to say they have a shot. And if they can beat that Eagles team, we'll be at 7-7. You are right back in the thick of everything, right? And you are right back in the situation where if you win the next 3 or if you win even 2 out of the 3, just like last year, 9-8 got us in the playoffs, but you even have a chance to be 10-7 off winning 3 in a row after this Eagles game. So while it's not a must win, I do think right now, if you look at the situation, we do really want to win this game against the Eagles because I think if you get a loss and you're sitting at 6-8, the pressure of winning 3 straight to make the playoffs, first and foremost, I don't think is good for everyone on the team. I think we'd be on a 5-game losing streak. Vibes are bad. Some people might be kind of mailing it in. I'm not saying everyone. I'm just saying some young guys might think there's no chance. The work ethic might not be there. You never know how it works in the building. And like I said, the Pete Carroll vibes, positivity, his culture might not really be, in there the way they want it to be if you start losing games and you're 6-8 and we have to win 3 in a row. What if we don't? And it's over. That's why this game means so much. Go at home on national TV against a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. Now, the Eagles are struggling. Do not forget that. They're not playing as great as they were. But go beat that Eagles team. Monday Night Football on TV. Everyone sees it. And show the Seahawks are not joking around. And we're still good. If you win that game, that the team itself, the Seattle Seahawks players are going to have so much confidence flying into Tennessee, go to Nashville, win that game on Christmas Eve. Come back, beat the Steelers. Go to Arizona, beat the Cardinals. Turn it around. I truly believe the culture is very much still intact, but you have to win these last couple games. The culture is not going to stay intact at 6-10, 6-11, or 7-10. The culture is going to stay intact if you end up at 9-8 or 10-7 and make the playoffs and make a difference. So we got to go beat the Eagles. Let's keep this culture intact. Let's win out on the season. It's possible. Make it possible, Seahawks. Like, when Geno Smith's been in there, we've been good. Now, that's the last part I was going to get to is I hope Geno Smith plays. All this is contingent of Geno Smith playing. While I have nothing against Drew Lock, and I think he played much better than I actually expected against the 49ers, at least in the first half, we need Geno Smith to play. The last time we saw Geno Smith was in Dallas, where the team put up 30-something points. If the defense played a little better, we're actually winning that game against the Cowboys. And that was against a hot Cowboys offense. Dak's been playing good on the road. This is at home, Monday Night Football. Slow down Jalen Hurts. Go get the win. Hopefully Geno Smith's in there to do it. And get this culture right back on track and get the vibes right back on track. I truly believe it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, you'll probably see that negative video from me on Monday morning or Tuesday morning talking about how this culture might be lost and there's some changes coming. Go win. And let's begin this winning streak, y'all.